Hey everybody, it's Lewis Porter Jr. It is Monday the 6th. I'm shooting a video. It's another overcast day here in Florida. It's still hot, which makes it really kind of very Florida-ish. So, sorry it's so late. I had like 2 meetings that ran late, and then I had to speak with 2 other people about a meeting, so that's why I'm shooting the video really late. I'm hoping to make it really quick. So we're going to talk about such a lovely topic that's one of my favorite topics, of course, diversity. Yes. Diversity is the topic of the day. And while this is going to sound really weird, and there will be some moments that are probably politically incorrect and people will be offended by, I'm going to just say, hey, deal with it. That's just going to be. Sorry. When it comes to diversity, I always like when people talk about diversity, but I always kind of sometimes really miss the point. Case in point, I've been to many cons, sat on many panels where I was the only African American male there. Once I have to be an Hispanic. The numbers were quite low, as I always call it. And I think if you're really going to talk about diversity, you really need to talk about all levels of diversity. I can only think of, 2? Besides myself, I can think of 2 other African-American developers in this industry. Only 2. That's all I can think of. You've got me, Eloy, who does Third A Games, and Mike Sampcool. If there's more, I'd like to know. At least you don't see more. It's definitely on the higher end creative side. I don't see a lot of that. I don't see a lot of black men like me. I don't see a lot of Hispanic men like me. I see a couple Asian, and I've seen a couple. Tay Lee is a prime example. But when coming to numbers of people that look like me doing stuff, I don't really see that. And then I think that also in turn plays out on the actual products we make. One of my favorite things I always like to brag about with New Exodus, when we put it together, it was very simply put together, having several different nations, and the majority of them run by women. I went out of my way to make sure that was what we were doing. We wanted to have women run the majority of them, and the other nation, the Dominion, we had run by a black male. And that's a black male, dark-skinned male, African-American male, that kind of thing, that kind of look, because I didn't think you'd ever seen that before, and I couldn't remember any setting that had, women in control of everything. Lots of kings, a couple queens, but definitely not, majority queens, and then like 1 king. It's just visually, I thought it was kind of cool and different, and personally, I wanted to also introduce more women into gaming, and I thought that would be empowering. Well, why wouldn't a woman want to see another woman in charge? Plus also I think, specifically for New Exodus, we put a lot of tropes on its head, and tropes on its head, and that was kind of the purpose. Hold on. Let me guess, you're looking for the car. Next building right here, about halfway down in the middle on the right-hand side. No problem. Every day, same question. So, I did that to get women to possibly look at it. And then, of course, I muffed it up totally by putting way over sexualized women in my stuff. I'm not the brightest guy always, but I at least learn from my mistakes. So that's a little bit of it. But I think there should be more diversity. Okay. Look at our iconics we did for New Exodus. We went out of our way to basically break the stereotype and mold of what you expected things to be. I'll talk about my favorite one. Susan Kinnan, who is our anti-paladin. We have her put together under a Scottish outfit with Scottish armor, but she's our anti-paladin. Most anti-paladins are not like that. Most of them have the black armor, and they're very big and bulky, and the huge sword, and I didn't want to do that, because I didn't think that was evil. I think, the real evil is when you see something that isn't what you expect it to be. It's that little seduction, that little difference. When you're like, holy cow, I didn't see that coming, and I think that's a little cooler. Case in point, we built a Ranger with Asher. The Ranger we built, I built him off of a Zulu, because it's like, look, if you're going to be traveling on forest, everyone thinks very traditional, European, But I'm like, okay, what if you really were a Ranger, but a Ranger in Africa? What would he look like? How different would he be? That kind of stuff, and that's the kind of appeal I try to put into the game to add diversity to it. Just visual diversity. You don't see a lot of African-based guys as iconics for settings. Is it right? Is it wrong? Who cares if it's right or wrong? Why is it being seen? You know, you want to attract more people to play. You give them things that look like them. Riley Morgan is one of the characters we made, and I kept saying, when initially we made Riley, I was like, okay, make this character Riley, and I said, let's go with a little androgynous. Let's not sure if it's male or female or if I said, let's go very, very androgynous with him. And even when we define the character, but it's usually on our iconics, we tell, male, female, we say undisclosed alchemist. Sorry, undisclosed human alchemist, to be exact. So we don't know if Riley's male or female. Does it matter if Riley's male or female? I don't think it matters. If Riley's a cool character, that's what matters. Was Riley cool to play? Yeah, well then you had a great time. And if you're a girl and you played Riley and you loved her, great. If you're the guy who played Riley and you loved him, great. It's really up to you. I mean, it's about enjoying the actual playing. Because that's what it's really about. Let's not kid anybody. We make games. First and foremost, diversity's sake, whatever, the games need to be fun. Once they're fun, we can be as diversified as we want to be. And I think it's smart if we're going to be diversified. I just think, from my own personal history of working on this kind of things, I tell everybody the best way to do really cool characters, and you're not sure if you want to worry about race or whatever, make the characters up. But don't assign a sex or a race to them. And just make them, proto-blob people. And then at random, pick. I'm going to make this one a female, this. I'm going to make this one a male, that. And when you do that kind of stuff, it changes the dynamic. Because when you built it, you might have had character A in love with character B, but under random picking, they're both female. Well, how does that change their relationship? How does that change the interaction? How does that change? Maybe this person is an elf. Or actually, even better, this person is a I don't know what, hate elves, comes up hating elves. A self-hating elf? There's some great psychology you can go on that. There's some great ideas visually you can go with that. So it's like, let's get to the diversity. Let's really push diversity on the stuff we're doing. And look, I understand. It's only natural to draw characters that look like you. But I'm sure when you're like most people, you're thinking inside your head the characters you're designing, they look like you, or they resemble you, and like that. Let's stop doing that. Let's really make characters that maybe don't look like us. They look nothing like us. I mean, I did that on mine. Most of my characters don't look like me. I am not white. I am male. I'm kind of pudgy. Not in great shape. Most guys are in great shape. So I try to make characters that look not like me. But also I did make a character that did look like me. Well, let's not kid anybody. I don't look as good as Asher does with all ripped up in my six-pack. But I wanted people who had small children who wanted to play fantasy say, oh, I can't find anyone who looks like me. Then I guess I can't play. And that happens. And that happens a lot more than people actually realize. If you don't see someone like you when you're playing a game, it's kind of a subconscious way of telling people, maybe I'm not supposed to be playing this game. And that's really bad. I think, we're developers. We're creative people. Our main goal should always be about being inclusive and finding people and getting them involved in what we do and making them excited to be involved in what we do. We make games. Games are fun. We should have as much diversity as game possible. We should even go beyond just giving typical diversity. Let's push the limits. Let's push the limits in being creative. And let's be honest. Okay. Oh, there's a whole big one. I think you can have this conversation with non-fantasy and fantasy writers. I think it really comes down to, non-European standards of things. Okay. Everyone focuses on Europe as being the big important place. It's the thing that everyone talks about. It's that kind of focus. I get it. I totally get it. I get it. And of course, every culture we're doing, we're kind of, when we're doing that, we're kind of mocking, let's say, reinterpreting, recreating these ideas and concepts. For New Exodus, we put in a couple things that were directly out of, World War I. But we changed the races attached to them. It still didn't change the conflict. I mean, the conflict was there. Person A doesn't like person B because of this thing happening. And you can put in whoever you want. And the dynamic changes by the racial component, the sexual component. There's so much to it. I think people need to really stop. Okay, if all your iconics look like you've got a problem. That's what I'm saying. Fair enough. Dale wrote, fair enough, how do you push the limits of diversity? No white guys. I think there's always going to be white guys and stuff, because that is what... You also got to think about who's playing... Yeah, it's up on my screen. Who's playing your game. They've got to see themselves, too. But, you know, if you've got a spot... Okay, I'll give you a great example. Here's something that drives me crazy. Marvel Comics just released Civil War #2 happening, okay? And if you haven't read it, this is going to be a spoiler, so just deal with it accordingly. In the first issue of the book, they kill off... well, they really don't in that first issue, but they kill off War Machine, who is James Rhodes, who's Iron Man's best friend, who just happens to be black. Okay. Mathematically speaking, the number of black / African American characters that exist in Marvel Comics is probably somewhere around 2 or 3%. Now remember, this is the second Civil War book they've done, the second series they've done. The first series, who did they kill off of one of the big characters? They killed an African American scientist. Now, there's not a lot of African American heroes. The odds on 2 of them getting shot up and killed in a book are pretty low, just because the pure numbers don't satisfy that. But constantly, that seems to happen. It is the trope, you know. And Warren Ellis said it best in Planetary. We're living in a science fiction movie, and everybody knows that the black guy always is killed in science fiction. And it sounds funny, but he's true, and it's so true. It's so disturbing that that's the problem. Look, if I've got a book where there's 10 people there, and 3 of them are black, or better, 2 are black. What are the odds in that those people probably getting killed? It shouldn't be 100%. You know, it happens. It seems to happen all the time, and I don't know if people do it by accident, or people are not thinking, or they're not just not conceiving. But yeah, someone's going to have to die. Don't get me wrong. Someone's going to have to die. But if it's the black guy, or the dark-skinned guy, or the female all the time, there's a problem. There's a problem. We have to really start looking at this perspective correctly. Because I mean, if the numbers are that, even though you consist of 20% of the population, and you get 100% of the awful things happening, that's not right. So it's just to that point. And look, I'm speaking as an African American male at this. I'm sure you can input the word African American male, put female, homosexual, gay, queer, whatever. Some minority group, which another word that I can't stand, but I get it. You shouldn't use them as your punching bag or your effect. Yeah, Dale, that's actually very interesting. I never really thought about it. You said that, Dale. Yeah, true. Pitch black. None of the white guys survive. Yeah, it's kind of funny and sad at the same time, but funny. But it's like one of those things of like, numbers going. It needs to be diverse. And if you don't know anything about diversity, look. Here's something radical you can do. You can ask a friend who's black. And if you don't have a black friend, you're already fired already. Everyone's got a black friend. You got a minority friend. Everybody has at least one friend. How about getting more? That'd be more helpful to you. The more people you see, the more diverse thing you can feel. But I'm sure you all have at least one. So do yourself a favor. Talk to them. Get some opinions on stuff. I mean, even when I was doing Long Shadow, who's basically Native American inspired, I talked to some friends of mine who are Native American. I said, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And they were like, well, I don't like this, but you could do this. I'm not sure about this, we could do that. Kevin and Mercy. I also question your audience. Kevin, I think that Kevin put it really interesting. Also, question for your audience. Write a story of chicks in chainmail set in the fantasy Africa. Well, would you wear a chainmail in Africa? Of course, it's too hot. You'd wear this kind of stuff. I still think you can tell good stories. You can tell, the fish out of water story that always works. People love that one. Oh, I'm like this here. Over here, I'm like this. Notice the differences that I have to deal with. That's what Farscape was. Farscape was that to the utmost. Fish out of water story. Stranger in a strange land. It's got a lot of cool things to it. Yeah, Jacob Blackman. Yeah, every lesbian relationship on TV. Yeah, they do catch a lot of bullets. I don't understand that. Why they catch a lot of bullets. Some people are like that. But you know what? Look, if you're killing the character to advance the story properly, and in the word properly, that's all your determination. But if you're advancing the story with it, don't be like Shaka. We killed the lesbian. Shaka. We killed the black guy. People's deaths have to count. Okay, for example, I'm watching Person of Interest. I've been watching it for years, big fan of the show. Watching it on Netflix again. I'm on season 3. If you haven't watched it, it's one of my favorite shows. It's a very cool show. Christopher Nolan's brother, Jonathan Nolan, doing the writing. I think Chris Nolan is also involved. I also think J.J. Abrams has done some stuff with it as a producer. It's kind of a cool series, and I like it a lot. They run with 4 main characters. They added another one to make 5. One of the actresses, I know, wanted to leave. She wanted to expand. She liked what she was doing, but she wanted to do other stuff. So they had to kill the character off the show. Now, the way they did it, and the way they always focused the character, she was kind of the moral center of the group. And that was her purpose. That was their thing. And of course, boom, and this big thing, this big undercover thing that's set up that she's basically been setting up and getting these guys, and it's great. It's great. I don't want to ruin it for you, but it's really actually kind of well done. She gets killed. And the way she gets killed is like, it's one of those, the last guy she's trying to put away catches her and the main character out there, and they both get shot. Now she catches one in the chest, bam, he catches 2, he's bad off too. And then for the next episode, the main character, who apparently, I don't know if it was romantically they wanted to put him, but at least respected her as a person, a human being, and like that, basically goes after people to find out where's this guy hiding. And they always portrayed it to me so well, because it was like, it wasn't about the black woman getting shot. It was, she got shot. It wasn't about, we need to shoot someone, we're going to pick the black person. No, it was, we shot the person to basically cause all the havoc to these guys, and the one guy left killed the person that caused it. It just happened to be female and black. And I think that's how the writing should be. It happens to be. It just happens to be. If the writing is, it just happens to be, the person gets it, and it makes sense for the story, then yes, do it. If it's, I gotta kill somebody. Okay, I gotta kill somebody. Who am I gonna pick? Black guy. If the black guy's your first choice, pick something else. If the white guy's your first, or even do something crazy. Get a dice out, roll at random, see what happens. Because that could be even better. Kill your main character in the story. That's a great idea. And people are like, "What are you talking? You're crazy?" No, listen. You kill the main character in the story, it becomes a totally different story. You got this guy you thought was gonna be the important saving grace, and we killed him. Now what do? Oh, got to find a way to replace that guy. And I think you can tell really great stories. I think diversity is incredibly important. I think the ability to craft good stories is very important. I think it's also very important for you to find ways to make this awesome. Oh, okay. Good Lord. Miss Seeley, thank you so much. How are you doing? Early lunch?
Thank you.
That's Miss Seeley. She works in my department. Nice girl. So, as I'm finishing up, as I'm gonna eat my lunch because I'm hungry. Diversity, be actually diverse, and take some time, try something different. If you know, my running joke that I always said was, it always amazes me that in watching watching fantasy and reading all this stuff, I've never actually seen a black male on a Pegasus with plate armor. Never. So maybe you do that. Maybe try something cool like that. I might appreciate that. All right, my signal connection's weak and I need to get out of here. So I'll talk to y'all later. You never know. We might talk about this maybe tomorrow. Maybe. How much diversity is too much diversity? You need more diversity. Even if it's more diverse, make it as diverse as crazy. That's what I'm telling you. Make it diverse. Be diverse. Don't give excuses. Do it. Be awesome. Talk to you later.